Hello and welcome to BeamNG.drive. Today I'm taking a look at the Carscaler mod. To use this mod you have to press a key which is Alt backspace in this case. If you want to change it you go to Options, Controls, and at the bottom of the list there is Carscaler, so you can set the key you prefer. Now let's go back to the window, and at this moment I can change the size of the car from 0.3 up to 10 times bigger, so it is quite a big spread. Now let's go back to 2 to see some changes. Let's see gradually. Okay, and if you see at the bottom left of the screen, the stats of the vehicle have changed. Now I don't know how the horsepower changes, because that's a big increase. Now we are up to 2700 horsepower, which is a big number, but the weight is 8 times more than the standard vehicle. I did the math and it worked. So now in the grid map it's difficult to judge the increase of size of this car, but if you go and try and drive, it is different. It feels a lot heavier, it's a lot less nimble. As you can see, I'm trying to go zigzagging and it doesn't want to do it very much, but it still goes pretty fast. As you can see, I'm shifting 150 km/h easily. It can go pretty fast. Now let's do a small crash. Okay, oh, nice flight. You can see it's difficult to judge on this map because it's not a standard city, so you can't have nice proportion in this map. So now if I want to do extreme, let's see 10 times bigger. This is the biggest SBR you will ever see, and it weighs almost 1.5 million kilograms with 345,000 horsepower, which is a pretty big number. Now in this situation with this size, the game is not very sure on what to do. For example, with this car I should put the manual gearbox because the automatic doesn't work. So in manual 1 I can change gears and it goes around, but it's not an easy vehicle to drive. As you can see, I'm all going right and it is quite slow reacting, which is understandable. It is quite big, but at least some obstacles are not a problem. That was a nice pass over a solid wall. It is difficult to drive this vehicle, and in this map, to judge also the scale of these cars, it is extremely unsettling. It's difficult, but a 10 times bigger vehicle, it is almost useless in city maps because you can't go anywhere. So this is probably the only map where you can use it. I have an idea, I will try that later, but for now let's stay on grid map and let's do a small crash, because when you use a giant vehicle everything feels slowed down, which isn't, because I'm still using a real-time simulation. But look at the bouncing, it looks like slow motion or moon gravity, for example. The handling is extremely slowed down, but this is a difficult vehicle to drive, even in grid map. Also, the damage is not very good. Okay, the gearbox I forgot to change, because it just increases the spaces from the nodes, so a lot of spiking and triangles will appear when you smash a vehicle this big. Now let's go and hit that post, that column solid, to see some damage on a 10 times bigger SBR. Let's see, 180 km/h crash. Now as you can see, let's zoom in a bit. The nodes are quite spread out, and if I pull them, yeah, it doesn't work, because even at 100% force, because this car is quite heavy, as you see here at the bottom. The damage is not the best in cars this big. You can see it's not the best. It's not the best, but it is understandable in this situation. We can also go at the other side of the scale number, and we go with such a cutie little car, which is quite funny to use because it is incredibly nimble, and the gearbox sometimes doesn't know what to do. Maybe it's because the EFC can cause some troubles, but this is funnier than the big one, because you have such a small car, it can feel like a radio controlled vehicle. Also the combustion engine powered ones, they exist, they are very funny to play with. I never did, but I watched them, they are pretty fun. So, and the weight also changes. Now I have a power of 10 horsepower and I weigh 40 kilograms, so this car weighs half of my weight, which is kinda funny. And the speed is very good because I'm doing 180 kilometers per hour, and now if I smash on a solid wall, I just crumple like a ball of metal, like a piece of paper. And now let's take a look at the advanced options. Now first let's get a standard SPR, perfect. You can change some parameters independently from each other. Now let's start with the weight, because you can change the weight of a car. For example, I can have a 10 times heavier SBR4 even at standard size, as you can see, 15 tons. Now the engine will struggle a little bit more, but this is a strong car, and it also changes the engine power automatically. I don't know why, because you can also manually change it, but it does shift the engine power as well. So this is a 15-ton heavy vehicle going at 200 kilometers per hour, just like the Crashard 8x8 last week. Now let's smash it on this pyramid. Let's see. And yeah, you can see the difference because it's a standard vehicle, just heavier, so it's on fire, which is nice. I have a conveniently spawned couple of pigeons that have a different weight. Now let's go back to one time weight for my car. Let's smash into them, because the first, it is a standard pigeon, so you will see how a standard crash in this game. Okay, poor pigeon, I'm sorry. Okay, this is what it is. And now let's go and smash on a 10 times heavier pigeon to see the difference in the crash. Okay. Oof. That was almost a solid wall. Look at the difference in space. That the one skid a lot more. This one was almost a solid wall. So my car is completely destroyed. So this was the difference in weight, what it can do. You can change the stiffness and the strength of the vehicle, but it is not advised because it will cause instability. I will demonstrate it. So for example, if we go to 0.01 stiffness, the car is now jelly. If I try to accelerate, it will become nothing. Sometimes it can create this thing, which is not the best, and it will cause instability. Perfect. Reset it. We can also have, for example, let's go to 2 stiffness, and it will break the game as well. So stiffness, you shouldn't change it. Okay, now let's go back to 1 before my PC dies. Okay, perfect. We are back to normal. And the same is with strength, because a car with 0.1 strength, it will blow on itself. You can see it's already broken. You can use this if you want to do a target vehicle, to do something. But if you go, for example, 5, it will create some issue. Now let's smash the heavy pigeon to see the strength in action. Oof. Okay, as you can see, it is a strong vehicle, but I still have a broken drive shaft. It's not very useful anymore. This is a bit more useful than the 0.1. It is, you can create an unexpectedly strong vehicle, which is kind of funny. Now, you can also change the engine power alone. Let's do 5 times. You can see from 347 we go to 1.8 thousand horsepower, which is quite powerful. And I'm surprised because this car can somewhat handle that engine power, which is nice. I really like the SBR, and it is a respectable vehicle. Look at that, it is quite good at doing it. Okay, and we can fly very easily with this vehicle, but I also will spinning at 180 kilometers per hour, which is very fast for a wheel spin. And now it will land perfectly. I just wanted to crash a vehicle. But if you go crazy on the engine power, for example 10, you can have serious problems. Now, if I slam on the accelerator, I already break the induction system and I over rev. And there are many vehicles where the drive shaft just explodes. This is not one of them, but it can happen. But also look at that, I'm not touching the steering, I'm just slamming on the accelerator, which is nice. Okay, I'm sliding a lot with 3.7 thousand horsepower, which is quite powerful. You can also change the gear ratio and the drag lift. Now let's go crazy with the drag ratio just to check how it works. And it is not very useful because I'm already in 7th gear at 35 kilometers per hour. It is not very useful. You can, however, manage, if you want to do it, you can do a gear ratio modification. If you are interested into, you can do it. And also the drag lift. If we go 0.1, for example, it is the drag lift coefficient, it is less noticeable than the others, because at the moment I'm not seeing too much difference, apart from maybe a bit more understeer, but it is what it is. And the braking capabilities, of course, is impacted, but the drag lift modification is the one that is less noticeable. So these are the parameters you can change in a standard vehicle as well, and you can do it even if the car is modified. For example, I can have a 2 vehicle size SBR4 that weighs 0.01. So you will see it is now a huge car that weighs 120 kilograms. And if I smash on the super heavy pigeon, I don't think it will ever move. Oof. Yeah, it was a solid post for this car. So you can have this crazy combination of characteristics. You can also change the stability options, but you shouldn't do it, even the creator says that. Only touch this if you know what you're doing. I tried them, I didn't notice anything different, probably because I didn't do the specific thing, but anyway, you don't touch it because it's not worth it. You can also have the randomized settings. You can randomize the scale alone, or the multipliers alone, or both together. Now, let's have these ranges. This is, I think it's 5, I was just trying. These are the standard ranges. And let's randomize my SBR. So now I have a slightly bigger vehicle, a slightly heavier, with longer gears and more drag lift, and a little bit more power. So it is difficult to judge because of the map, so I don't know, the car is big, but I can tell that it is not very good handling. It is softer, it feels softer, so you can feel the weight because for the size is lighter. So it's fine. It's a standard vehicle. It's a slightly bigger vehicle. Let's fly. Oof, big crash, and the engine is broken. Let's see another randomization. Let's see what is that. We have a small car, 50% heavier, with more power, shorter gears. It is a nice little contraption. Let's smash once more on the heavy pigeon. Oof. And I'm smaller than the pigeon, as you can see. It is a nice thing, a funny thing. Now it is quite similar. So you can also change the ranges of each multiplier, and even of the scale. So if you want, for example, the minimum to be 5, the maximum to be 10, you can do it easily. Easy as that. 7.36 vehicle. So you can do it as you wish. Now I want to do one more test in grid map to see the difference in the vehicles. I made this test because this mod confuses me a lot. Now I have a 10 times bigger vehicle, and the smallest vehicle you can have, a 0.3 size vehicle. It is pretty funny. Now I will pause the game accelerate the little car. Oops, mistake. Let's do it again. Freeze, accelerate, change vehicle, and I will drive the huge, gigantic SBR, and you will see that they will go at the same speed. And that's incredibly annoying to see because you can judge it if you don't do this test. Now, let's go. And we'll see I'm using a manual gearbox, otherwise this car is undrivable. And as you can see, we are going at similar speed. Now I'm a bit farther back because I forgot to change a little bit. The gearbox is not helping very much, but as you can see, it's not pulling away. It's in front of me. We are at stable speed. Of course, we will crash. Oof. A lot of instability detected. Probably not my car, but the little one. Because if we see, this got resetted. So it's the small one that is instability. But mine as well, you can see the wood is not in very good condition. But even if there is such different size in play, they go at about the same speed. So congratulations, because it is very well proportioned, this size change in vehicles, and I'm really happy I've done this test because it puts things into perspective, because you can judge it with such different sized vehicles. You can't properly see this kind of behavior in such a huge car. Now I want to do one more test, and so let's crash this little SBR. I'm sorry, little one, you were good, I like it. Let's go to the next test. The test I wanted to do is a rock crawling experience. I have the rock crawler. Let's get a huge one. Okay. Size is pretty big. Let's lock the diffs. Let's get unstuck from the floor and see if I can climb this mountain with this huge vehicle. I should be able to do it with no problems. The only difference is that the camera is a bit shaky and it feels like I'm climbing the moon, a small pile of rocks on the moon. But I'm having almost no problems. I got a little beached there, but that was understandable. And in seconds I'm at the top of the mountain. That's incredible. It is somewhat unexpected, yeah. I didn't expect to do it quite easily, and the descending, it's even easier. Now I'm going at 130 kilometers per hour, and you saw that it is real, so I'm cruising above the rocks at a very high speed, and I'm doing wheelies in the meantime. That's nice. Oof. Big bounce on the landing, but the huge springs should have no problem handling almost 2 million tons of weight. That's very nice. And let's see this little mountain as well, because with such a car these mountains are not that tall. And I remember doing a scenario with the MD series on these rocks, and I quitted because it was impossible. But with this, it is like eating a piece of cake. Look at that. Will I roll here? Not even rolling. Maybe yes, no. So that's extremely easy to do. Oof. Big hit on the rear axle, but nothing will stop the huge rock crawler. Not even some airtime. Maybe the airtime did. Yes, because I broke a spring. No, bye bye spring. And it was, let's say, I can say confidently that it was a success. I did overtook this huge mountain with the huge vehicle with almost no problems. So that's the test I wanted to do. It was a success. And now let's do some crashes. And the chosen victim for the descent are a 10 times bigger Lansdale, a standard Lansdale, and a 0.4 size Lansdale. And let me tell you what, I did not expect this one. I didn't know what to expect, but this is not what I wanted, because you will see it is just a car going down a hill, slightly covered with gravel, Yeah, some rocks here and there, but the road is asphalt. And this, I was not expecting this. It is, yeah, it is what it is. It's useful to have a vehicle this big to do this ramp. Now let's go with the standard one because I wanted to do a crash comparison. Damn it! Look at that. It's quite funny. Now let's smash on a tube. Oof, that was nasty. Yeah, your Lansdale is absolutely destroyed. Oof, it's a very big crash, one I didn't have in a long time. Okay, very completely destroyed vehicle. Now it will skid upside down. It will be back on the standard side. Will it get stuck? No. Okay, perfect. And down the ramp. I really like the floppy front wheels because the rears are... Oh no, one is still attached. Nice. And sliding... Oh! Wow. Perfect. And now let's see the small one. I'm using the 0.4 because the 0.3 one did explode on spawning, so that was not fine. Let's pick the ramp. Ooh, the flight is pretty good. Oh, and I hit a cube on the landing and I am on fire. The crash is very similar. I'm really impressed by that. Let's see the final landing. I really love the huge Lansdale pointing down there, stuck. It's nice. However, if you have a car this small or such a big vehicle, the crash won't be perfect as the standard one. Okay, will it stop? No, it would have been epic. Okay, now let's roll it back on the wheels. Okay, it's too strong for such a slow vehicle. And as you can see, for example, here the glass rooftop is completely glitched out. This one is doing its own thing there. This is the standard vehicle for comparison. Let's put them closer so it is easier to see. Okay. The damage is comparable. Of course, the small one did take bigger impacts because it is lighter and easier to damage, but it is quite similar. So it is a very well done mod. I recommend you go and download it yourself. It is available in the game repository and I think also in the game forum. I will put the link in the description in case. And that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.